Hello Astro Bros, and welcome back to another video of the Nakshatra series. I know I haven't made one in a while. I was getting over an illness, and hopefully I will be back to making more content on this channel. And hopefully also I'll have another camera soon so that I can do multiple angles and better resolution videos. So, that being said, the nakshatra that we're going to cover today is the solar in the solar sign of Leo and the Mercury ruled sign of Virgo, and the co-ruler of this nakshatra is the sun. So in the initial part of the nakshatra in Leo, at the end of Leo, starting at about 26.4 degrees Leo, and carrying forward into 10 degrees Virgo. In the initial part, you have the solar ruler of Leo, and then the co-ruler being Sun as well, so it's like double solar energy here. And then with Virgo, you have obviously Mercury ruling that, so you have the combination of Mercury and Sun being the co-rulers of that particular, the first 10 degrees of Virgo. Also, just as a recap of what a nakshatra is, a nakshatra is the amount of distance through the zodiac from our perspective here on Earth that the moon moves in a day. And in astrology, this can be used to sort of zoom in. And so you divide the zodiac up into signs. You divide those signs into personal houses, hours, however deep you want to go. And the nakshatras are just another layer of detail that you can use in their correspondences to different places within the human psyche. So every event that goes on in the world, and in human experience particularly, we view it as archetypal, and these archetypes tend to revolve on a time frame according to the dogmas of astrology. Whether you believe that or not is up to you, but it works for me, so I like making videos on it. This being said, the nakshatra of Uttara Phalguni is the second. If you noticed the last video, we did a video on the nakshatra of Purva Phalguni, which was main ruler was Sun in the sign of Leo, and then the co-ruler was Venus, and that was basically about the actions that were needed to set up your life in such a way that you had the time and energy accessible to you so that you could be creative and just pursue the end results of your pleasures, and basically have the energy to have the experiences that you want to have. This Uttara Phalguni, not Purva Phalguni, is a sort of higher version of that, I would say, because the goals of Uttara Phalguni are similar to the goals of Purva Phalguni in that they desire to have the pleasures of life, and they don't want to work super hard for them. However, they want to be intelligent about the acquisition of them. However, I would say that Uttara Phalguni is far less concerned with pleasure and far more concerned with emotional depth. So the ability of Uttara Phalguni, the special like Shakti ability that is correspondent to each nakshatra in Vedic system of astrology, is the ability to have the perfect relationship, essentially, or a flawless victory in the terms of your interpersonal relationships. So, this being said, if Purva Phalguni is about generating pleasure, worldly pleasure, you could easily make the case that Uttara Phalguni archetype is about the pursuit of spiritual / emotional / intimate, like marriage type relationship pleasure. So that's basically what's going on in this nakshatra. Instead of seeking the material pleasures of life without a terrible amount of effort, you are trying to set your life up in a way that you can have the perfect relationship with very few hitches and very few hang-ups that so many people fall into. So now I'm gonna, because this is a dual sign nakshatra, the nakshatra goes from like the very end of Leo, the last 3.2 degrees of the sign of Leo, and then goes 10 degrees into Virgo. I'm gonna break down what happens with the Leo portion versus the Virgo portion. So the Leo portion of this, I would say, is purely focused on setting the foundation for the relationship to exist on. Also, the what's it called? Symbolism of this nakshatra is the foundations of a house or the foundations of a bed frame. And if you remember in the Uttara Phalguni video that I did, the symbolism for Uttara Phalguni is the hammock or the bed, or like basically like the pleasurable like place where people will sleep and where people will have sex and that kind of thing. So Uttara Phalguni is the thing that supports the entire framework of the relationship / place of dreams and restfulness and that kind of thing. So it's the foundation of your home, it's the foundation of your bed, it's the foundation of your material, emotional sort of hybridization of that type of pleasure, the things that give you your emotional sanctity, your emotional comfort, and your ability to have this sort of perfect, sort of flawless victory in terms of what you want in your life. And that is purely seen through the Leo, like the last 3.2 degrees of Leo. Now, in the first 10 degrees of Virgo, a person may suffer a little bit with the obsessive nature while still wanting the same goals effectively. People in this portion of the nakshatra have a harder time with it because they micromanage and microanalyze things. And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. It's just that these people can sometimes tend to get in their own way regarding relationships, because remember, anytime you're dealing with relationships, you're dealing with Venus. And Virgo is the debilitation point of Venus, because it deals with the two things that Venus, or really three things that Venus does not necessarily, as an archetypal planet in itself, does not necessarily want to deal with, which is arguments and like discretion of information, like facts, and like manual labor and like working on things, building things out of the earth, because it's a mutable earth sign ruled by Mercury, the planet of art and creativity, among other things, and mind over matter, that sort of thing. And in general, just arguments and illnesses and diseases, and it's not a very pleasurable sign. So when you have this energy being like seeking the foundations of stable pleasure, the people with Virgo in their, like there's a planet in the first 10 degrees of Virgo are going to have a hard time trying to reconcile Virgo's need to create out of material, raw materials, and this nakshatra's desire to create the foundations of a abstract relationship. Now, one thing I can recommend for the Virgo people here is try to use your innate creative abilities to make a space that, like, to physically construct a space that will be conducive to bringing that relationship to its like maximal level of efficiency. So yeah, that would be my advice there. So anyway, that was my video on Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra, and I will be making more videos on the topic of nakshatras shortly. Thank you.